you would say it in your own words.
Okay, I'll try to do it in 1 minute. So, um, Escape is the third chapter of the Odyssey Collection. Okay, the Odyssey Collection tells the story of life through different stages. Um, the first stage, so chapter one, was called the Renaissance, and it was a collection of four fragrances that literally tell the story of being reborn and this feeling when you discover a new place or a new country. In my case, it's actually when I moved to Oman. The second chapter of the Odyssey collection was called Liberation. And this is a chapter that was born during the pandemic when I think everyone really wanted to liberate. Um, and it's also somehow, the second stage in life when you liberate from your entourage or your parents or something like that, and then you start flying on your own. Um, the third chapter, so the one we are talking about today, is called Escape, and it tells the story actually of a journey, an escape, and it can be, I would say, taken quite literally or quite philosophically. It's all about escaping somewhere in order actually to find yourself.
I wanted to talk to you. There is a process that they follow. The perfumers. What is the process, the creative process that you follow when you're creating?
So my creative process, I would describe it as a collage. Okay, so I create. So first of all, like the process is not clearly defined. It's always ongoing and so on. So if you ask me when did it start, I never really know. Um, but as a creative director, actually, I'm putting things together, and I work with different collages. So I have, collage number one, collage number two. I have several of them, and all of them, they are based on the idea that a collage is the way to bring an original idea to life. If you think about it, in the world of and in the history of arts, if you think about Braque or Picasso, for example, they were artists actually who were using a lot the idea of the collage in their art, because I remember Picasso mentioning that this is probably a way to bring an original idea to life because you put two realities together that are not meant to live together, or several realities together. And by doing so, you create a new reality, and you create an hybrid, which becomes then an original idea, and ultimately, he was able to create very original pieces of art. So, in perfumery, as people have covered so many ideas and so on that I think it's required actually to work. If you want to come up with original ideas, it's required to work with something like a collage. I have my different collage, and the collage is ideas that were not meant to live together, but somehow I think that they belong together, and that a fragrance could bring them all together. So I had a collage for Lineage, I had a collage for search, guidance purpose, and when the collage feels complete enough, I then need to decide actually how can I collect that collage with the universe of different artists. Because you probably know I like to work on perfumery with and on fragrances with perfumers, but not only. I also create music for my perfumes. I create visual art for the perfumes and so on. So actually, I need several artists to ultimately create the overall thing. Um, so then that's when I decide actually, okay, I think that this perfumer, because of the style, because of his or her history of creations and so on, I think this perfumer might do well in this collage, this one and this one and so on and all of that. And then I share the collage with them. I share the collage with the visual artist I'm going to work with and so on. They need actually to incorporate the collage, and then they need to think about it and so on. And then that's when they start actually contributing to it. So they start actually sending me ideas of fragrances and so on. And I see how or they belong and or they work with them. And at the same time, the other artists would send me like music notes and pictures or something like that. And then it kind of completes and it feels like this board, this collage. I have all of them in my studio. Um, and that's how things complete. It's a very organic creative process. I need and I want actually on purpose to keep it very open because then it's not too rigid. So it means that it can be really reworked um, all the time, and this is quite important to make sure that we are not stuck in a corner at some point.
Amazing. So even when you have the collage and you send it to Quentin, or Puri, you've worked with both of them before. So how was it? Was it easy process getting your ideas across? And it was just right after we'd come out of pandemic as well.
We had the chance actually to be together in Oman a few times. So I think it helps, and the fact that I know them helps also. So yeah, and I think the brief, so the collage was clear enough that it was quite straightforward. So yeah, in the end, I guess we become relatively I don't know if efficient is the right word, but I think specific. As we work together.
You
So I think
understand probably
yeah,
better.
I think we do. So yeah, it was quite straightforward, but it does not mean that it was fast
Right.
because usually it's about narrowing down like the key idea, and I think that one we got quite fast. But then it's about fine-tuning the details, and the details they make the difference in a perfume. So we need to the way we develop a fragrance, and you probably discuss with the perfumers about it, but the way I would describe it is one, you define like the big building blocks, like what we call the main accords of the fragrance, and then you question yourself like, okay, do I need more building blocks around it? And then once you are clear about your building blocks, you start wondering, do I need to like cut in those building blocks? Do I need to polish those building blocks? Do I need like more colors in those building blocks and so on? So this is kind of the fine tuning of the big idea. And then after that, once you're there, you need to work on the technical aspect of the fragrance. So you need to make sure that it has like the long lastingness and the diffusion that people expect from an AMOUAGE fragrance.
Of course. And, I'm very interested to know about search as well and how the what you had given the brief you gave out saying you wanted the longest lasting
Lemon. Yeah.
fragrance. And then,
I think we got it. I
Yeah.
mean, should we smell it?
yes, please.
So this is this one. This. So obviously it's very it's a beautiful citrusy fragrance. It's not only lemon. It's different citruses. What I love about it, it's very zesty.
Mhm.
It's very juicy and there is some kind of acidity to it that is it's kind of photorealistic, of like I was about to say scratching a lemon with your fingers and opening it and so on. You get like the peel, you get the zest, you get everything and the juice and so on.
You also get and then you get the wood.
Of course, because what is the challenge with lemons? Lemons don't last. Usually, they indicate like something and then so this kind of spark of yellow and then they are gone. In this case, for some reason, the perfumer managed actually to keep the lemon like and to make it super long lasting with the same zesty quality. The way it was achieved was through frankincense. So frankincense actually helps, creating this kind of vertical vibration in the fragrance, and then quite some woods as well. It's quite woody, and it smells also a little bit smoky. The smokiness comes from the woods and also from the qualities of frankincense that have been used. So what I love about this fragrance is really, for me, if I have to think about colors, it's yellow and black at the same time because they are really like there's really strong contrast. Um, and obviously, it signals freshness and zestiness, but it's really long lasting. And I mean, it's insane because you wear it and you would walk around and so on, and you would keep on diffusing this beautiful citrusy scent around together with wood. So that's Surge.
I think you stopped searching once you got Alexei's. Uh,
Well, I was really blown away because I did not know, as you mentioned, I did not know Alexei. He was living in New York and he sent me this little sample, and this sample literally moved me so much that I was like, okay, I need to know who this Alexei is because I don't know him, and he seems to be obviously quite talented.
So, going into AMOUAGE as such, there's a lot of tradition, there's a lot of heritage, legacy that AMOUAGE has. And over the years, especially in the last 2 years since we've come on board as well, AMOUAGE has moved past. It was an international brand, yes, but there is more international recognition since. But is it difficult to stay rooted in your tradition, but at the same time you have to have the global appeal? How do you manage that? Because I think that's one of the toughest issues for many of the houses,
Yeah.
even in the luxury market. You have to look. You're staying true to your roots, but at the same time being out there global, that appeal. How are you able to do that?
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the biggest challenges because the temptation, as you grow and as you become more international and so on, is to become a bit, how do you say, ubiquitous. Like you have this temptation to actually lose, your identity and so on because you believe that by softening your specificities, you will actually maximize your chances to appeal to a broader audience in a way. And this is the wrong thinking, right? Because this is when you start becoming like everyone else. Um, so ultimately, I think it seems to be a bit contradictory, but the the broader actually, you become as a perfume house and so on. I think the more specific you need to be about your identity.
Right.
And actually, I don't think that I mean, coming from a man is a strong like difference for AMOUAGE. Like you don't have many international luxury houses that come from Oman, and it makes it so unique, and it's associated with amazing values and so on. That I think the more international AMOUAGE is going to become, the more Omani it needs to be.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. So, the world of niche luxury perfumes, it's starting to grow right now. You find more entrants, and I'm not talking about the fashion folks, but we're talking about the niche luxury perfumes. I don't want to say it's crowded, but it's kind of getting there. When you hear about boutique brands, special
Yeah.
brands, the small edition brands coming out as well, the small edition perfume brands. So in that kind of an environment, how is AMOUAGE able to stand out from the crowd?
Uh, it's a good one. I think it occupies a unique spot in the industry because first of all the the manufacture, the way the company is structured and so on is very unique. You don't have a lot of perfume houses that are as integrated as AMOUAGE and so on. So we literally like own many steps of the creative and the production process. And ultimately, I think people smell the difference, um, and then you are able actually, because of that, you're able to communicate about it. You don't see, I mean, I'm not aware of many fragrance houses that can talk about and that can actually, shoot, I don't know, videos on their production line and and use that on social media and then talk about the concentration openly and aging and all of that. Like, and I think it's an ecosystem that starts with the company is is built differently. It's built in Oman. The philosophy is very unique because it's all about generosity. It's all about, I don't know, I mean, embracing Omani values and so on. And the setup is unique. So in the end, it gives us actually the possibility to, I think, to stand out and to be very different from hopefully everyone else.
Something that I found really commendable is in the last 2 years how AMOUAGE has embraced digital media and e-commerce. Especially again, it goes back to ever since you came to the helm of AMOUAGE, along with Marco, of course, the creative direction that you took. But it has occupied every aspect of digital media and even moving e-commerce. Well, we did require that in the last 2 years for sure. But it seemed that, I don't know, was it something that you were planning when we had to move? Everybody had to go digital completely, or was a lot of thought process that went into it, or did you do it overnight?
I mean, again, I think if you are based in Oman, if you want to connect with the world, um, at some point in time you need to be online. Um, and also I think, I mean, I'm a big believer of the fragrance community, and the fragrance community is this concept of, the people actually who debate about fragrances online, who research about fragrances, who are part of forums, or who leave reviews on websites and so on, and all of that, or people who review fragrances on YouTube and so on. And I think all of that like creates this feeling of community. Um, and I just felt that um, this community likes actually to have a transparent conversation with between each other, and also ideally with brands and so on. And many luxury houses probably don't want to have that discussion because it could potentially, like lower a little bit the prestige of the company, being a bit inaccessible and so on. And what I wanted to do was actually create that connection with the community, but at the same time keep everything we do very elevated and so on. Because that's the way to be closer to your clientele and the community and so on, but at the same time remain extremely elevated. So that's what we've been doing. We've been really obsessed about, when it comes to digital, it's really, digital is first to connect with communities. It's not to put advertising online, it's not to, um, I don't know, to be obsessed about selling and so on. It's first to connect with the communities. And then progressively it's going to, ultimately it's going to result in more people trying your fragrances, because people could not try, that much fragrances during the pandemic and so on. So we actually gave and distributed and sold a lot of samples online, and I think it helped a lot.
Amazing. So, when digital e-commerce is important, how important is to you, especially in being in the perfume industry, the one-on-one interaction? People coming into the shops, the boutiques, to
Yeah.
test smell. How does that go?
So first of all, not even talking about buying behaviors, I think one-to-one interaction, when you think about perfumes, they are critical, because ultimately your perfume is a one-to-one interaction. So the product we are crafting and selling is built on this idea of the one-to-one interaction.
Right.
Okay, it's a way to connect with people on an individual basis, and you're going to react to the fragrance that I'm wearing. So it's fundamental, and starting from that assumption, I think it's just easier to start a dialogue and to debate and to connect and so on with people around, actually, around the fragrance. We talked about search. We smelled it, right? And just the fact that we smelled it, actually, it made it much easier to create that connection between the two of us around this fragrance. So I think that's why, ultimately you can drive some kind of awareness and so on about fragrances, not having one-to-one interactions, but ultimately a fragrance is experienced. And it needs to be given to you by someone, or needs to be presented to you by someone and so on. So I really believe that it's key, particularly when it comes to AMOUAGE. I don't really believe that this is the type of fragrance that you want to buy from I don't know, from a distant shelf or something like that. I think it's always better when you have someone proposing it to you.
So, when every perfume that has come out, especially under your creative direction, has been inspired by Oman. And like you said, Homage is from Oman.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's no better brand ambassador if you were to look in that, universe. And you travel quite a lot within Oman, to find your inspiration, to do, your own inspiration. So when you're out there, exploring, seeing places that you see, new places, how how much of it is for you to find something for the perfumes, and how much is it for you as an explorer? Because I know you love to travel as well.
Yeah.
So how much of the travel aficionado in you is being fulfilled as much as it is the perfume or the creative director?
It's never intentional. So no, it's not true. So sometimes I do specific trips actually to research about a specific topic, but most of the time it's not intentional. You're just like, you just keep absorbing
Right.
things, and what is important is actually to make sure that you capture what you're seeing, and you start by connecting the dots and so on. So I think I would not define like a clear difference between, oh, am I doing it for me, or oh, am I doing it to inject that into one of my fragrances? And this is also something, it's also a big debate about how much of myself am I injecting in my work at AMOUAGE. So I always say, I'm here to serve the vision of AMOUAGE, the vision of His Late Majesty Sultan Qaboos, to really, like share the values of AMOUAGE around the world. However, it cannot be done in isolation. I think you cannot say, well, it's not influenced by my personality and so on. So I'm going to do it in a way that is going to be, a bit influenced by my experiences, my personality, and so on. So in the end, what I want to say is that the limit between, I don't know, passion and work, or it's very blurred, and that's what I also say to everyone,
Amazing. Well, I wish you all the best, Renaud, and can't wait for the next chapter. Although we just opened this chapter,
Yeah.
but
Let's give it time, and
let's give it time. Absolutely,
yeah,
it deserves the time.
good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Renaud.